Bob, you must be a pretty happy man after Friday night's win against Bath.
Well, we certainly needed some points to stay at the roughly the right end of the table. It's a bit ironic after a few weeks we've had that we won and dropped a spot. But no, we were very pleased with the points. Obviously, very pleased with some of the qualities we showed. We had another little issue again around the back five of the scrum on the morning of the game where Sean Lonsdale dropped out. He'd been kind of running and calling lineouts through the week, and Don Armand had to drop in for his first game in the second row this season. Did really well. So we kind of grew in confidence through our pack through the course of the game, and we held things together and stayed in contention when Bath were throwing everything at us, and we've come through with a very hard fought but I think well deserved win, which has has kept us ticking along nicely.
I heard you say you must enjoy these wins, so have you?
Yeah, well, I think that when I say we should enjoy the wins, it's a little bit about making sure that you don't have an expectation that good things will just come whenever, a few weeks down the line, a couple of months down the line. It's about, understanding that every day and every game matters. So when I say enjoying it, I mean, turn up for training today and enjoying working hard and getting well set for Saracens. And then, taking every game as a bit of a privilege and really enjoying it for what it is. And I think when you're playing like that, you tend to get on rolls very quickly because everyone just starts looking forward to getting back into training, back into the next game. And that's just what we need to be about. We haven't lost it completely. We're still kind of getting on with things. But I just want it to be a real drive for us.
And as you say, Saracens, and then into Europe, it's going to be a great couple of weeks for you, isn't it?
It's a fantastic few weeks for us as a team and for us as a club and for our supporters. This is what kind of the last couple of years has been missing. This is what you want to see. You want to have a run of games into Christmas where, I mean, the pressure point of it is it's going to be a huge determiner on where we end up later in the season. But at the same time, it's going to be a great challenge for us. And if we come through it, I can see it adding real momentum to our season. So in a lot of ways, it's exactly probably what we need.
What have you learned, or what did you learn from that day against Leinster, Rob, that quarter-final defeat? What was the biggest thing that stood out for you?
Well, obviously, the biggest thing we talked about was, how do you let a 14-0 lead slip probably as quickly as we did, because we definitely got 14 points up and did some very uncharacteristic, quite soft things to concede points. I thought Leinster were very good on the day, don't get me wrong, and we were probably better than we gave ourselves credit for. I think when you rewatch the game, we did a lot of good things that day and were very competitive. Kind of had a really good opportunity to score later on that would have created a real a 2-point game, and the only thing that stops us is Sam Simmons just nudges in the back of Johnny Gray pretty much as he's going to go over, and we get done for a block. And we were close against the Lens performance that was very good, but at the same time we also didn't take the opportunity to really double up the pressure on Leinster. So we've learned a bit about it, that the one thing is you've got to stay in the fight for 80 minutes. That taking your foot off the pedal is a killer against any good side, either in the Premiership or in Europe. And we just got to make sure that when we hit Montpellier, we've got our foot on the pedal for the full 80 minutes.
Yeah, as you say, you've been an extra long time now through the highs and the lows. Where do you feel this team is at the moment, Rob? Is it just a case where we're stuttering a wee bit, but you're not too concerned, and you feel as if you still very much can be at the top table?
100%. I just think, as I said, your greatest strengths can become your weaknesses if you allow them to be, or if you take them for granted. And the biggest strength we've developed over a number of years, and by talking about it and genuinely being open about it, is a kind of building an understanding. And every good team does this, that if you drive what you do as a side collectively with the 15 guys on the field as hard as you can for as long as you can, often really good things happen. Now, in the end, that's what Leinster did. You say in that quarter final, they stuck out what they did, and they drove it, and they drove it that bit harder than we managed to drive our game, and they came on top. And I think that's probably what we've really got to make sure we really lock into, because the other thing that can happen is if you have some success doing that, or periods of success, and we've had some good periods of success doing that, you can start to have an assumption that just sticking at it will mean you come through in the end. Mm-hmm. But actually, sticking at it is one thing, but it's sticking at it, doing it flat out is what matters. So it's not just sticking at your game plan. that brings you through in the end. And although it will sometimes, it's actually sticking at it, but at flat out intensity, because that's what genuinely wears on the opposition and creates that energy, draining of the energy batteries in the opposition. If you don't do it with real vigor and real enthusiasm and real energy, teams just stay there and they just go, yeah, this is quite tough to play against, but we can deal with it and we'll have our time as well. And I think that's the difference. You need to have a confidence that what you'll do will work, but it's a confidence that you have to do it hard and you have to do it tough and you have to do it for 80 minutes. It's a confidence it works, but you've got to stick at it flat out. And I think we just need to get back to that a little bit.
You obviously reached the peak of just over a year ago against Racing in that final. You've also won a couple of premierships. You've also lost a few finals. How do you, obviously you want to win them, but do you learn a lot from losing those finals as well, Rob?
Well, you do, and I think they're also very motivated. Every big game you lose can do two things. It can sap you, and you can doubt yourself about it, or you can use it as a driver and a re-energizer. And we've always managed to do that. Not for a whole season, I think every team has little kind of dips of energy or form or whatever, and we've had them in most seasons, but we've normally addressed them very, very well. And probably, I'll be honest with you, I don't mind saying, probably what happened last season when we lost the final, we probably never really had what you call a real drop-off. We kind of were very consistent through the season, and actually, if anything, our intensity drop-off happened over the last 3 or 4 weeks of the season. Mm-hmm. And we probably never, now in hindsight, just didn't have the time to readdress it. And it just hurt us just enough for us to lose a tight final. And I think what it feels like at the moment is it feels like we're going through some challenging times now, but I'm really expecting them to make us a better team. I'm expecting them to solidify us and drive us and reset some real high standards and create a unity around how we're going to work over these coming games. And if we do that, then we'll be a match for anybody. If we don't, then we will suffer the consequences.
And finally, Rob, what drives you at Exeter? You seem to have been there for forever. What to keep you going? Is it trophies, or is it getting better every day, or what drives you to still be in the job that you're doing?
I do. I think it's probably to fulfilling our potential as a club. Really, if I'm honest with you, is the thing that it really excites me. I turn up to work today and I walk out on the pitch, and the hotel at the bottom of the stadium, bottom of our car park, is nearly finished, and it's going to be one of the best hotels in Exeter, if not the best hotel in Exeter. We've got a grandstand. You guys will see it if at the game here. The opposite side of the pitch now from our main grandstand is pretty much nearly finished, and it's pretty much a mirror image on the frontal. It hasn't got all the corporate out the back, but of this side, it takes our capacity to over 15,000. And it's going to create an incredible atmosphere here. We're getting close to create a full stadium here. We've done these things and we've invested this money because of where we want to have our standing as a club in Premiership, in the Europe, and in worldwide, really. And those things really do interest me and excite me. The whole picture of where we can go is we're still very much on that journey. And my job, I feel, is to just not let us slip off on the field, when what we're doing off the field is potentially creating the foundations for something that should be fantastic on the field as well.
Brilliant. Great stuff, Rob. Thanks for your time.
Right. Thanks very much.